So you want to start your own YouTube channel or start vlogging. I'm going to tell you what I would recommend when you're just starting out, the cheapest route and the best things to possibly buy to keep it kind of budget oriented as you're starting. So there's some advice I can give you before you even start. And it's that this does take time. Now, it takes time to edit, and it also takes time to start building your YouTube channel and getting subscribers and viewed hours. It's not just a quick thing. Now, don't get me wrong. There is some people that just, boom, they take off, and that's great. But most of us, we slowly build, and we get to the point where we're monetized and everything. It took me about a year, and I'm okay with that. You cannot get discouraged. It can be discouraging. It can be heartbreaking sometimes. Not really for me, because I do this just for fun. But some people just expect this just to boom and you're famous and you're making a bunch of money, and that's not how this works most of the time. Take your time, make good content, find your actual audience. I mean, you can't just have a very niche group because it makes it really hard on you. So try to find an audience of something that you really like, or maybe it's like a group of people that all have the same interest, like car enthusiasts, and try to stick with one thing and build off of it and just keep making content. Don't just stop making it because you're not getting views or you're only getting 20, 30, 40 views. Just keep making content. Make sure you put a good description and make sure you put good tags in it. Tags are everything really in this, because that's how people search and it pops up for you. It really can upset people when they start and they don't just take off. And I've seen more YouTube channels disappear than I have seen come. So just don't give up, keep doing it. And the main thing is, something that took me a long time, is your first videos are probably gonna suck. I mean, it happens. Mine still aren't the greatest, but my first ones were pretty terrible. And I was still learning to use cameras. I was still learning to use editing, and they weren't great. And you know, you live, you learn, and you keep progressing, and it really does help you. Don't be afraid of the camera. It takes time to get used to the camera, talking to it, realizing you're talking to yourself, which can be very awkward, but just get used to it. Don't be scared of it. The number one thing I see is people scared of the camera. I was too. It was just very weird for me to talk into it. It was very weird for me to take it out in public and just feel like I'm filming people. Some people just don't care and they're used to it, but it was awkward for me. Now I just kind of take it with me. We film, we have a good time. If people are on it, oh well, that's part of it. Just don't be scared of the camera. Enjoy it. If you don't like a part of a video, edit it out. Don't worry about it. But that's one of the main tips I can give you, is don't be scared of it and keep with it, and you will grow. Just takes time. So it can get very overwhelming trying to start a YouTube channel, trying to figure it all out, what equipment to buy with all the different stuff on the market. My advice is, there's a lot of people that use their phone, and yes, that works great. I do not. I've never used my phone, so I'm not exactly sure the best option for that. But my biggest problem with that is the memory on it. If you were going to do long videos, have to constantly record off and on, off and on. The phone to me is not the best option. So what I am using currently is the GoPro Hero 10 and the media mod for it. Now the camera I actually have on the tripod behind me is the GoPro Hero 8 with the media mod. The 10 actually has, you can look it up everywhere, the front mount camera, or the front screen, sorry, and it's a big improvement. Now, one thing you'll have to have for any of your cameras, and I highly recommend, no matter if you do GoPro or whatever you use, is get plenty of extra batteries. I really prefer the actual GoPro brand batteries. I've had less issues out of those than I have the aftermarket ones. I have aftermarket batteries for my Hero 8 and my other camera. They just don't last as long. So I highly recommend that you just stick with GoPro brand batteries. Don't just buy the cheap batteries off Amazon. Yes, they work. If you're doing short videos, they will not be a problem, but if you're trying to run it for long lengths, the batteries literally only last half as long, if not less. Another camera I'm gonna recommend to try to keep it budget oriented when you're just starting is the original Osmo Action. It's just like a GoPro basically, it just has a cage, which is actually pretty nice most of the time, makes it a lot quicker changing batteries. But as you can tell, it actually has a front screen on it so you can see yourself, and you can hold the button and switch it back to the back screen. There's nothing wrong with these cameras. There was just, the video wasn't as crisp, in my opinion, as what the GoPro seemed to do, but everything else about the camera has been really nice. It is actually the camera that I keep inside my car most of the time when we're filming, or strapped to the outside of the car, because if I lose it, it's a lot less money than what the GoPros are. The reason I stick to GoPros is because the accessories that follow GoPro, nobody compares with. There's just so much different stuff that you can get for GoPros, but most of it will interchange with the Osmo. It is a nice camera for literally half the cost. So one nice thing that I like to have, which even if you don't have the GoPro brand, is these little carrying cases. These come with the newer GoPros, the 10 and my GoPro Max that I just bought. And I like to keep all my pegs in it to tighten things up, and I've got different ones, like high torque ones. It makes a big difference. I also keep all my batteries, my other lens, the charger for the Osmo, and these are the aftermarket batteries for the Osmo. They work, but they do last half as long. I also keep spare SD cards, which you'll need plenty of if you're recording a lot. But I just keep those locked up in here, and then I keep this in a backpack. I have another one here too, it's empty, but we're about to start filling it too. So one other major thing that I really like, that a lot of people probably don't have or don't need, but for the price of them, they're really good, is these little battery pack chargers. I picked this one up off Amazon. I'll try to put the link down in the description. I think it was 35 or 36 bucks, but it has multiple ports, so you can actually charge if you have a charging station like I have for all my cameras, where you do multiple batteries, or if you have 2 cameras or whatever, you can actually be charging a camera while you're using another one. So if you're out in the field, if you're out hiking for days and you've got to charge things, this one is actually solar powered and works really good. When we're at car shows, I can set it up on top of the car, plug it in, have all my batteries charging at the exact same time while I'm walking around doing other things, so I'm not actually worried about it. So this is something I would highly recommend. It's very cheap, and it's very effective when you're trying to do lots of cameras or have a bunch of cameras. So the next thing I'm going to show you is my backpack. It's nothing special. I think it was under 40 bucks also off Amazon. This is just a camera bag, but the way it's set up is pretty nice. You open it up, you have a laptop compartment back here, which I usually keep my laptop in, and it has sections, and it has a bunch of these that you can actually move the sections in. So I keep lots of stuff in the bag, as far as spare battery packs also, because they wouldn't fit in one container, the spare charger. And the thing that's really nice about this backpack is I can actually hook the charging pack I was telling you about up to it, and it actually has a port on the outside where I can actually hook the cable up, put a GoPro in the side bag, and it will actually start charging. But it has plenty of room for multiple cameras, as normally I have cameras stored basically in each compartment. I also have my mouse for my laptop. The other major thing I would recommend is have lots of charging cables, because somehow they always end up showing up missing, and I'm not sure how that happens, but it does. Something else to keep in the backpack is a magnetic mount, and lots of little clips and bracketry so I can hook GoPros or cameras onto other things. Let's see, I think that's about it inside the backpack, but I'll get with some of the other accessories here. So the good thing about action cameras, yes, they're not absolutely the best as far as quality for sound and picture, they are really good, but it's the accessories that you can use them for. So if you're into action sports, or like me, you're a car enthusiast that you race cars, drive cars, and do other things in the motorsports world, if you're hiking and biking or anything like that, these action cameras you can hook up to anything because of all the accessories, which is one reason why I really like them, because I like accessory stuff. So of course, starting out, you'll have to have some kind of selfie stick. Now, I've bought a lot of them. I don't recommend the ones like this where it's a tripod and it extends out, and it's got some aluminum but a lot of plastic. It's very cheap. I think this was only like 10 bucks when I started. It works, but it's very bulky and awkward because of the thing here, and just really got on my nerves. So I don't really use this anymore. But one I do use is this cheap one here. It extends out, gets as far as I need, everything works. Comes back in and twists. It actually has broke over the past year, but for the $15 that it was, it still works. If you look, this is my GoPro Max I just bought, 360 camera. This is for the car stuff more than anything, but this is a good camera. But I've also bought other ones like the 3-way from GoPro. You can find these on eBay cheaper than anywhere else, so I would look on there. I'm not a huge fan of it. It works okay, but I don't know. I just don't really like it for some reason. It's not my favorite. I've also bought other really cheap ones, just mono pod ones, but these do extend out a little bit further, so you can get further out. But the problem is they're just really wiggly. And so if you're gonna buy one like this, buy a better brand one. Spend $50 or $60 on a good one, not this. One major thing I bought, which are, these are generic snap mounts. You can basically hook these anywhere. You can hook them inside your shirt and put it here. You can put it on top of anything metal. And of course you've got your GoPro or action camera pieces here where you can put it on. This was very cheap, also off Amazon. This brand right here makes a lot of stuff, knockoffs, and even though I try to buy the name brand, sometimes when the name brand is 4 times the amount, I'm gonna buy the knockoff and give it a try. And so far, most of their products have been really good. So another thing you'll want, or essentially in my opinion you might need, very cheap, is a light. This light actually can be adjusted, and it's very bright and works perfect. Unfortunately with the GoPros, you either have to have a cage on it or you have to have the media mod to be able to mount this, which is one downfall I wasn't a huge fan of, but really it's all action cameras are like that, because even the Osmo in the cage does not have a way to mount lights and stuff. So I actually have a cage for that one also that I don't use anymore. But lighting is essential. So a cheap light can actually help you a lot, especially at night or starting to get darker in darker places, obviously. But it does help a lot. The one thing I have bought that I have not figured out how to use the best is some of these filters. They do work really good, but I've actually got different lens filters that adjust and are waterproof and all this stuff. I've not messed with them a lot. If you're going for more like a cinematic look or something like that, filters can really save you. And they do make filters for pretty much all the action cameras. I do not have them yet, but it's one thing you could really use. So the next thing is going to be, how are you gonna edit and where are you gonna put all these videos? So you might not think that you're gonna video a lot, but when you start videoing, you will have tons of videos that you're never gonna use. Or you might just need a small clip of, and it takes some time. So you gotta be prepared to take time to edit and learn to edit. I'm still not the best at it, I'm learning as I go. But I do okay, and I've learned, but there's so much you can do in editing as far as fixing video quality and stuff like that, and you gotta have a way to do it. So, of course there's hundreds of video editing softwares. I'm not gonna tell you which one to use because the one I use is just okay, and I'm actually in search of another one right now. There is free ones, and I would highly recommend when you're starting out, get a free software and use it. But at the same time, you're gonna need a good laptop. You're gonna need something with a really good processor and a whole bunch of RAM. I bought a cheap laptop thinking I was going to use it to edit, and it basically just froze a whole bunch. So I have a laptop sitting inside brand new that my kids play with because it's not gonna work and you couldn't even put RAM in it. So spend $1,000 or have a desktop or something that you can actually edit on that's good. I would highly recommend that more than anything, because if it starts freezing, it really gets annoying and it'll kind of discourage you from wanting to keep doing this. Guys, that's really it. If you want to grow a YouTube channel or you have any questions and you're a smaller channel, don't be scared to message me. I try to answer everybody's questions. You can find me on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and obviously on here, Bourbon and Boost. Even if my content is not for you, I understand, but I'm just hoping I can help the other smaller YouTube channels, people that want to get into this. Doesn't matter if you're a car enthusiast, a hiker, a biker. I don't care if you're making food. We're all trying to grow and have a good time. The main thing on here is to have a good time, and it'll make all this worth it. So, till next time, if you have any questions, find me. We'll see you later.